Think, I've spent 94 years studying money, how people earn it, how they waste it, how they build wealth. Think, how they destroy it. And I've noticed something interesting. Most people aren't poor because they don't earn enough money. Think, they're poor because they're bleeding money in 5 critical areas. Think, 5 specific places where they're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars over their lifetimes without even realizing it. Think, these aren't small leaks, these are hemorrhages. And the worst part, they're completely fixable. Every single one of them. Think, but most people never fix them because they don't even know they're happening. Today, think. I want to show you these 5 critical money fixes. And I want to show you exactly how much money each one can save you. Think. We're not talking about a few $1,000s here and there. We're talking about hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions. Think. So, if you're serious about building wealth, if you want to stop bleeding money, if you want to actually keep what you earn, think, pay very close attention because these 5 fixes can change your financial life forever. Think. Let's start with the first critical money fix. And this is probably costing you more than any of the others. It's this. Think. Stop financing your lifestyle with debt. Most people are drowning in debt. Credit cards, car loans, personal loans. Think, buy now, pay later schemes. They're financing everything and they think it's normal. They think everyone does it. Think, but it's destroying their wealth faster than anything else. Let me show you the math. Think, let's say you carry an average credit card balance of $10 and at 18% interest. Think, you make minimum payments trying to pay it off slowly while still using the card. Over 10 years, think, you'll pay about $18,000 in interest alone. That's $18,000 that just vanished, gone. Think, you got nothing for it except the temporary ability to spend money you didn't have. But that's not even the real cost. Think, the real cost is the opportunity cost. What if instead of paying $18,000 in interest, you had invested that money? At 10% returns over 30 years, that $18,000 becomes about $315,000. So that credit card debt didn't just cost you $18,000. Think, it cost you $315,000 in future wealth. That's the true price of financing your lifestyle. Think, and credit cards are just one example. Let's talk about car loans. Think the average car loan is about $35,000 at 5% interest for 6 years. You'll pay about $5,600 in interest. Think, but if you had bought a $15,000 used car with cash instead, you'd save the $20,000 difference plus the interest. At $25,600 at 10% for 30 years, and it becomes about $447,000. Think, one car loan just cost you almost $500,000 in future wealth. Think about that. Finance a new car every 5 or 6 years. Over a lifetime, they're losing millions to car loans. So, think. Here's the fix. And it's simple but not easy. Stop financing everything. If you can't buy it with cash, you can't afford it. Think, period. No exceptions. Pay off your credit cards, all of them. Stop using them except for convenience. Think, and pay the full balance every month. Never carry a balance again. Never pay another penny in credit card interest. Think, buy cars with cash and not new cars. Used cars, reliable, boring, cheap used cars. Think, drive them until they can't be driven anymore. Then buy another used car with cash. Never finance a car again. Think, don't finance furniture, appliances, vacations, or anything else. If you want something you can't afford, save for it. Think, wait for it, or decide you don't need it after all. This one fix, eliminating debt from your life, think, will save you hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions over your lifetime. Think, it's the most important financial decision you'll ever make. I've never carried consumer debt in my life. Not once. Think, if I couldn't pay cash, I didn't buy it. Think, that discipline alone has probably saved me hundreds of millions compared to what I would have paid in interest, and lost investment returns. Think, that's fix number one. Stop financing your lifestyle. Pay cash or don't buy. Think, this alone can save you $500,000 or more. The second critical money fix, think, and this one's costing you almost as much as the first, is to cut your housing costs dramatically. Think, most people spend way too much on housing, way too much. Think, the general rule in personal finance is that housing should cost no more than 30% of your gross income. Think, but that rule is designed by lenders to maximize how much they can lend you, not to maximize your wealth. Think, if you want to build wealth, housing should cost closer to 20% of your gross income. 15% would be even better. Think, but most people spend 40, 50, sometimes 60% on housing, and it's destroying their ability to build wealth. Think, let me show you what I mean. Let's say you make $100,000 a year. If you follow the lender's recommendation, think, you'd buy a house for about $400,000. Your mortgage payment would be about $2,500 a month plus property taxes, insurance, maintenance, call it $30,000 a month total, or $36 a year. Think, but what if you bought a house for $250,000 instead, or rented a modest place for $500 a month? Now your housing costs are $18,000 to $20,000 a year. You're saving $16,000 to $18,000 annually. Think, invest that $18,000 a year at 10% returns for 30 years. You'd have about $3.2 million. Or $3.2 million from one decision. Think, from choosing modest housing instead of stretching for the biggest house you could afford. But most people do the opposite. Think, they buy the biggest house the bank will approve them for. They think it's an investment. They think bigger is better. Think, and they trap themselves in high housing costs for decades. Here's what they don't understand. Think, a big house doesn't make you rich. It makes you house poor. You have this impressive house, but no money for anything else. Think, no money to invest, no money to save. All your money goes to the mortgage, taxes, insurance, utilities, maintenance. Think, I still live in the house I bought in 1958 for $31,500. It's a nice house, comfortable, in a good neighborhood. Think, but it's modest, nothing fancy, nothing excessive. Think, and every dollar I didn't spend on a bigger house was a dollar I could invest. Over decades, that's become billions of dollars. Think, billions from choosing modest housing. Now, I'm not saying everyone should live in the same house for 60 years like I have. Think, but I am saying you should buy way less house than you can afford, way less than the bank will lend you. So here's the fix. Think, if you're renting, find the cheapest acceptable place you can, not the nicest place you can afford. Think, the cheapest place that's safe, clean, and meets your basic needs. Invest the difference. If you're buying, think, buy a house that costs no more than 2 to 2.5 times your annual income. Not 3 times, not 4 times. Think, 2 to 2.5 times. Put 20% down. Get a 15-year mortgage, not a 30-year, and pay it off as fast as you can. Think, every extra payment you make saves you interest and gets you closer to owning it free and clear. Once it's paid off, think, you have massive monthly cash flow that you can invest. This fix, cutting your housing costs, think, can easily save you $1 to $2 million over your lifetime, and it gives you cash flow to invest, which creates even more wealth. Think, that's fix number 2. Dramatically cut your housing costs, buy or rent way less than you can afford. Think, the third critical money fix is to eliminate investment fees. Most people have no idea how much they're paying in fees. Think, and those fees are quietly destroying their wealth. Investment fees are insidious. They seem small, 1%, 2% annually. Think, but over decades they compound into enormous losses. Let me show you. Let's say you invest $500 a month for 30 years. At 10% annual returns with no fees, you'd end up with about $113,000. But if you're paying 1% in fees annually, you'd end up with about $836,000. That 1% fee cost you $177,000. Almost 20% of your wealth gone to fees. Think, and if you're paying 2% in fees, which many actively managed funds charge when you include all the hidden costs, you'd end up with only $691,000. You've lost to $322,000 to fees, almost 1/3 of your wealth. Think $322,000 from a 2% fee that seemed insignificant. That's the power of compounding working against you instead of for you. Think. And most people don't even know what they're paying. They see expense ratio 1.2% and think that's not much. Think, or they don't see all the hidden fees, trading costs, 1201 fees, sales loads, advisor commissions. Here's the brutal truth. Think. The investment industry is designed to extract as much money from you as possible. Financial advisors, brokers, fund managers, think they're all taking a cut. And those cuts add up to massive wealth destruction over time. So here's the fix. Cost index funds. An S&P 500 index fund from Vanguard charges about 0.3%, 0.3% versus 1 or 2% for actively managed funds. That difference seems tiny, but over 30 years, think, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe more. And here's the best part. Think. Index funds typically outperform actively managed funds anyway, so you're paying less and getting better results. Think, if you have a financial advisor who charges 1% of assets under management, fire them. Seriously, think. Unless they're providing value worth tens of thousands of dollars annually, think. You're better off managing your own money with simple index funds. I've recommended index funds for decades. For most people, think, a simple portfolio of 3 index funds is perfect. Total U.S. stock market, total international stock market, total bond market. Think, that's it. 3 funds, low cost, diversified, simple. This fix, eliminating investment fees, think, will save you hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably more. It's one of the easiest fixes and one of the most impactful. Think, that's fix number 3. Eliminate investment fees, switch to low-cost index funds, and keep more of your money. Think. The 4th critical money fix is to stop replacing things before they need replacing. Think. This is a subtle wealth destroyer that most people don't even notice, but it's costing you enormous amounts over your lifetime. Think. Modern consumer culture teaches you to constantly upgrade. New phone every 2 years, new car every 5 years. Think. New furniture every time you move, new clothes every season. Always upgrading, always replacing, always buying new. Think. But every replacement is money that could have been invested. Every upgrade is opportunity cost. And over a lifetime, think, it adds up to staggering amounts. Let's start with phones. Think, the average person spends about $4,000 on a new phone every 2 years. That's $6,000 over 12 years just on phones. Think, but what if you kept your phone for 4 years instead of 2? You'd buy half as many phones. You'd save $3,000 over 12 years. Think, invested at 10%, that's about $500 or $700. Not huge, but it's something. Now let's talk about cars. Think, the average person replaces their car every 6 years. They buy a $35,000 car, drive it for 6 years, sell it for $15,000, and buy another $35,000 car. But what if you bought a $15,000 used car and drove it for 12 years? Think, you'd save $35,000 over 12 years compared to buying 2 new cars. Invested at 10% over 30 years, that's about $6 or $12,000. Think, or $61,000 from driving your car twice as long and buying used instead of new. Think. That's the power of not replacing things unnecessarily. Furniture is another big one. People buy new furniture when they move. Think. When they get tired of their current furniture, when styles change. Think. They're constantly replacing perfectly functional furniture with new furniture. But furniture is a massive wealth destroyer. Then a new couch costs $2,000, new dining room set $3,000, new bedroom set $4,000. Think, a $900,000 on furniture that will do the exact same thing as your current furniture. Think, what if you kept your furniture for 20 years instead of replacing it every 5? You'd save about 27,000 over those 20 years. Then invested at 10% over 30 years, that's about 472,000. Do you see the pattern? Think. Every time you replace something before it truly needs replacing, you're not just spending money. Think. You're losing hundreds of thousands in compound growth over your lifetime. I still have furniture I bought decades ago. Think. It's not fashionable. It's not trendy, but it works perfectly fine. Why would I replace functional furniture? Think. That would be wasting money that could be invested. So here's the fix. Keep everything until it truly stops functioning. Think. Your phone until it doesn't work anymore. Your car until repairs become too expensive. Your furniture until it falls apart. Think. Your clothes until they're worn out. Stop upgrading for the sake of upgrading. Think. Stop replacing because you're bored or want something new. Think. Only replace when something is truly broken beyond reasonable repair. Think. This mindset shift alone will save you tens of thousands annually, hundreds of thousands over your lifetime, maybe more. Think. All from simply keeping what you have instead of constantly buying new. That's fix number 4. Think. Stop replacing things unnecessarily. Keep everything until it truly needs replacing. And now the 5th critical money fix. Think. This one's different from the others, but equally important. Think. Stop trying to impress people you don't know with money you don't have. Think. This is the underlying disease behind many financial problems. Think. People spend money they often don't have trying to signal success to others, to impress neighbors, co-workers, strangers. Think. To look wealthy even when they're broke. The fancy car, the designer clothes. Think. The expensive restaurant meals posted on social media, the luxury vacations, the latest gadgets. Think. All of it designed to create an image of success for an audience that doesn't even care. Think. And it's destroying people financially. They're going into debt, failing to save, missing investment opportunities. Think. All to maintain an appearance of wealth while having no actual wealth. Let me tell you something I've learned in 94 years. Think. The truly wealthy don't care about impressing others. They care about being wealthy, not looking wealthy. Think. Those are completely different things. I'm one of the richest people in the world, and I drive an old car. Think. I live in a house I bought in 1958. I wear cheap suits. I eat at McDonald's for breakfast. Think. I don't own a yacht or a private jet. I don't have a mansion. Why? Think. Because none of those things would make me happier or wealthier. They just waste money that could be invested. Think. Money that compounds, money that creates more freedom and security. But most people are the opposite. They're broke. Think. But they look rich. They drive luxury cars they can't afford. They live in houses they can barely pay for. Think. They wear clothes they bought on credit. They're building an illusion while destroying their financial foundation. Think. Here's what they don't understand. The respect and admiration they think they're getting from appearing wealthy, it's not real. Think. People don't actually respect you more because you drive a nice car. If anything, they assume you're in debt. Think. Real respect comes from actual accomplishment, from real wealth, from financial independence. Think. Not from the appearance of wealth. So here's the fix. Stop caring what other people think. Stop trying to impress anyone. Think. Stop making financial decisions based on how they'll look to others. Buy the modest car. Live in the modest house. Think. Wear regular clothes. Eat at home. Take modest vacations. Think. And invest the difference between what you're spending and what you could be spending to impress people. Let me quantify this. Think. Let's say the difference between living to impress versus living modestly is about $12,000 in a month, only $24,000 in a year. Think. That's the upgrade premium you're paying for appearance. Invest that $24,000 a year at 10% for 30 years. Think you'd have about 4.3 million from not trying to impress people for 30 years. Think, is impressing strangers worth 4 million to you? Think, because that's the choice you're making every time you spend to maintain appearances. Think, I've never tried to impress anyone with my money ever, and that's probably saved me billions over my lifetime. Think, billions that stayed invested and compounded into more wealth. That's fix number 5. Stop trying to impress others. Think, spend to meet your needs, not to maintain appearances. All right, think. Let me recap these 5 critical money fixes because they're incredibly important. 1. Think. Stop financing your lifestyle with debt. Pay cash or don't buy. This alone saves you $500,000 or more over your lifetime. 2. Dramatically cut your housing costs. Buy or rent way less than you can afford. Save $1 to $2 million over your lifetime. Think. 3. Eliminate investment fees. Switch to low-cost index funds. Save hundreds of thousands, probably more. 4. Think. Stop replacing things before they need replacing. Keep everything until it truly stops working. Save hundreds of thousands. Think. 5. Stop trying to impress people. Live modestly and invest the difference. Save millions over your lifetime. Now, think. Let's add these up. If you implement all 5 fixes, how much do you save? $500,000 from eliminating debt. Think. $1 to $2 million from cutting housing costs. $300,000 or more from eliminating fees. Think. $500,000 from not replacing things unnecessarily. $4 million from not trying to impress people. Think. That's $6 to $7 million minimum over a 30 to 40 year period from 5 fixes that are completely within your control. Think. 5 decisions that cost you nothing to implement. $6 to $700 million. Think. That's the difference between a comfortable retirement and being wealthy, between financial security and financial freedom. Think. Between working until you're 70 and retiring at 50. And these aren't complicated fixes. You don't need expertise. Think. You don't need luck. You don't need a high income. Think. You just need discipline and the willingness to be different from everyone around you. Because that's the hard part. Think. These fixes require you to live differently than most people, to drive an older car when your neighbors drive new ones. Think. To live in a modest house in a world that values big houses. Think. To be content with what you have when everyone else is constantly upgrading. Most people can't do that. Think. Their need for social approval, for keeping up appearances, for fitting in, it's stronger than their desire for wealth. Think. So they keep making the same mistakes, keep bleeding money, keep staying broke. But you can be different. Think. You can implement these 5 fixes starting today, and 30 or 40 years from now, think. You'll be wealthy while everyone else is still struggling. So let me give you an action plan. Think exactly what to do right now to implement these fixes. Fix 1, eliminating debt. List all your debts. Think. Make a plan to pay them off, starting with the highest interest rate first. Cut expenses if necessary. Work extra if necessary. Think. But get out of debt as fast as possible. Then never go back into consumer debt again. Fix 2, cutting housing costs. Think. If you're renting, find a cheaper place when your lease ends. If you own, think. Consider downsizing or paying off your mortgage aggressively. If you're planning to buy, think. Buy half the house the bank says you can afford. Fix 3, eliminating fees. Log into all your investment accounts. Think. Check the expense ratios on everything you own. If anything is over 0.2%, sell it and move to a low-cost index fund. Think. Fire any financial advisor charging 1% or more unless they're providing extraordinary value. Fix 4. Think. Stop replacing unnecessarily. Make a commitment right now. You won't replace your phone until it stops working. Think. You won't replace your car until repairs exceed its value. You won't replace furniture unless it's broken. Write this down. Think. Commit to it. Fix 5. Stop impressing others. This is mental more than anything. Stop comparing yourself to others. Think. Stop caring what people think about your car, house, clothes, whatever. Make financial decisions based on what builds wealth. Think, not what looks good. Implement these 5 fixes, and I promise you, I absolutely promise you, think your financial life will transform, not overnight, but over months and years and decades. Think, you'll build wealth you never thought possible. I've spent 94 years building one of the largest fortunes in history. Think. And these 5 principles have been fundamental to that success, not getting lucky, not having some secret strategy. Think. Just avoiding stupid mistakes and doing smart things consistently. You can do the same thing. Think. These 5 fixes are available to everyone. They don't require special knowledge or circumstances. Think. They just require discipline and the courage to live differently. So, make the decision right now. Think. Commit to implementing these 5 fixes. Write them down. Share them with someone who will hold you accountable. Think. Make them part of your financial life, because these fixes will save you hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably millions. Think. Money that will compound into financial freedom. Money that will give you choices and security and peace of mind. Think. That's worth way more than a new car or a big house or impressing people who don't matter. And you know it is. Think. So stop bleeding money, implement these 5 fixes, and start building the wealth you deserve. Thank you for listening. Think. Now go fix these problems in your financial life. Good luck.